The Lumix S1R2 just got a massive new firmware update. We're talking 8.1K full sensor RAW recording, ARRI log C3 picture profile, and a bunch of quality of life features. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what's new, how to actually use them, and a couple of things that may leave you scratching your head. Easily the new biggest standout features are the two new recording modes. We have 8.1K and 7.2K full sensor open gate. Now you can capture this in camera to the SD card and CF Express card, or you can also capture it externally, and this will be in RAW. Next up is the addition of ARRI log C3 picture profile. I have tested an ARRI log C3 profile on the GH Lumix cameras, but with this one being full frame, I'm pretty excited, and I think this is going to be a little different. We also have the new AF Urban Sports AI tracking mode added, what we've seen launch with the S1 II, that is now making its appearance here in the S1R2. The aspect ratio frame guides have been expanded from 10 options to 17, and you can also now display 3 at once. Another big addition that we've seen launch with the S1 II is the back up to SSD feature. This allows us to take the footage from our internal memory cards and via USB-C place them on an external SSD with only the camera. We also have a new proxy recording mode. When you are outputting RAW via the HDMI, we can also capture a proxy version of those files in camera to the SD or CF Express card, saving us time in post-production. UVC video support is now here in the S1R2 as well. This means we can plug our camera straight into our computer and use it as a webcam or a streaming device. This is not the latest protocol, I don't believe, which allows up to 4K, but I still think you'll get amazing 1080p images from this edition. We have two new Bluetooth features. The first one is Bluetooth timecode, and the second one is now we can control the camera via the Bluetooth from a DJI gimbal, allowing things to be much more streamlined. You can now customize the focus rings on Lumix lenses. We'll get into all the options and possibilities with that a little bit later. For still shooters, there is now the addition of HEIF image recording. This is at 10-bit 420. It is more color depth than a JPEG, but at a smaller file size. There is also a new focus stacking feature. This allows us to take multiple images at different focus points, then blend them all together into one singular image, giving you a really deep depth of field and an overall sharp image. But just before we dive into those new firmware features, I want to talk to you about something that every single creator at some point has probably dealt with, and that is an MPF style battery. The problem is though that most of the chargers for these MPF style batteries are built from cheap materials, too bulky, and give you no real indication on how much power is inside the battery. You pretty much just plug it in and hope. But Axoon, who are also the sponsor of this video, have fixed that problem with their brand new 4-bay fast charger for MPF batteries. You get 4 independent charging bays, meaning you can charge one battery or all 4 at once. A proper full colour LCD screen that gives you the exact percentage charge of each battery. It has 2 different charging modes. One is a fast charge to get your batteries charged as fast as possible, and the other one is a smart charge, prioritising battery health for those longer overnight charges. It has a CNC metal machine body, but they have also kept it really small and lightweight, meaning it is the perfect charger to put in your travel bag. You can even plug in an MPF battery to the charger when there is no power connected, and it will light up the LCD display and give you the exact percentage of what is in each battery connected. I can't believe it's taken us so long to get a decent battery charger for batteries that are actually so popular. It is also really affordable as well, so I'll put the link in the top of the description, and once again a big thank you to Axoon for sponsoring this video. Let's take a deeper look at the new 8.1K and 7.2K open gate modes. To keep things really simple, first I'm going to address what we can do internally, and then after that we'll talk about RAW and external recording. So for context, up until this point with the S1R2, we have been able to capture OpenGate up into 6K, but now we have a 7K and 8K mode, and all the different modes are in a 3:2 aspect ratio. But nothing is ever that perfect, so here's the weird limitation with this new 8.1K OpenGate mode. It is only possible to capture this in NTSC. So that means in the UK we shoot here in PAL. So there is no 25 frames per second. I'm not sure why this is. Surely we are not pushing this camera to its limits so high that it can't do 24 frames per second or 25 over 23.98. Or maybe this is a sensor limitation. It's way above the knowledge I have on this camera, so either way, I don't think Panasonic would hold this back on some weird purposeful reason, so we have got to assume that it is a limitation somewhere along the pipeline. And the good news, the 7.2K open gate is available across all the different frame rates. And this is still the full sensor, it is not cropped in any way when capturing internally. So I grabbed an anamorphic lens, I did a quick lighting setup here in my workshop, and then I took a shot in 6K, 7K and 8K open gate modes. Looking at all three side by side on one singular frame, I find it really hard to even tell a difference. Once you punch in though and start doing a bit of pixel peeping, you can notice that that 6K open gate is a little bit softer. Between the 7 and 8K, I still find it a little bit difficult, maybe just a tad. I think the 8K looks a bit sharper, but once you've rendered out and maybe it's hit the internet's compression, this difference may not be visible. Personally, I think all the three images look incredibly good here, so you can't go wrong no matter which one you choose. I think the 7.2K may actually be the sweet spot for most people. So now let's move on to the Blackmagic Raw recording. The option in the menu before this update was just not there, and we now see it appear. The problem is that just with all cameras, when they are added the addition of capturing B-roll, we have to wait for Blackmagic to update their video assist recorders. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I will be doing a dedicated Blackmagic Raw video for the S1 II and S1R2 soon as the update comes out, so make sure you are subscribed not to miss that. Alright, next up is ARRI Log C3. This is a new log profile that is able to be captured in the Lumix camera. We've seen it before on the smaller sensor cameras, but the S1 and S1R2 are the first times we're seeing it on a full frame camera outside of ARRI cameras themselves. This one is going to be a paid upgrade, but I don't believe Lumix will be charging the fee. Maybe I'm wrong here, but you'd assume that ARRI, for their part in leasing out the Log C3 profile, wants some kind of compensation. First up we have the Vlog image, then we have the ARRI Log C3, and then finally I added in Cine-like-A. If you remember, this was the picture profile that launched with the S1R2. It was designed to be of outer camera look, so it's not a log profile, but inspired by ARRI color science, so I found it quite relevant to add this in. At first glance, it's kind of hard to tell a difference. I think the ARRI and Cine-like-A profile definitely have a little bit more saturation right out of camera, but nothing dramatic. I did come back in to controlled lighting to see if I could see any more differences, and this time I balanced each pitch profile to a white piece of paper. We do start to see a little more difference here, again nothing dramatic. The Vlog is like duller in the skin tones, where the Cine-like-A and ARRI are kind of pushing them. I do think in the ARRI Log C3 profile I might be able to see a little bit of those yellow-ish skin tones that are famously associated with an Alexa's color science. But does that mean it is worth the paid upgrade? Well, for me personally, probably not. I'm a big fan of Vlog and I think it is just fine once you do a little bit of color grading and tweaking on it. But if you're someone who often shoots on Alexas and ARRI cameras and you need some sort of rigging camera or a crash cam, then maybe this is a great answer to a problem. I've seen a lot of people requesting this feature, so it's really great to see Lumix finally add it. In the frame marker settings, you now have the option to load up 3 separate frame guides. They've also expanded the choice of aspect ratios from 10 to 17, and there is even a custom mode that allows you to change the box and shape size to whatever you need. For anyone shooting open gate and delivering to multiple platforms, this is a game changer. You can have a bright blue 16:9 and a bright green 9:16 all over the top of your open gate image, meaning that you can make sure that whatever you're capturing is framed correctly for both deliverables. We can now back up footage from the SD card or CF Express card inside the camera to an SSD drive connected via USB-C. To do this, first plug in your SSD. Then go to settings and enable USB-SSD. You then go to the playback menu and you will see the copy option. I tested this with a 1 minute 8.1K clip, which was around 2.2 gigabytes in size. It transferred from my Lexar CF Express card to a SanDisk SSD in around 5 to 6 seconds. Another one here borrowed from the S1 II, and we can now customize the focus ring on Lumix lenses. This only works when the lens is in AF and not in manual focus, and there are quite a few options here. I would like to see some more. I think they could expand this even further, but to say it's a relatively new feature, there are all the major options you need. And finally, we now see UVC video support. This means that you can take a USB cable, plug your camera into any computer, and it is ready to go as a webcam or a streaming device. No capture card or other accessories needed. It is perfect to use your camera as video calls or streaming into OBS or Ecamm, and just use your camera very quickly for any online content. Overall, I think Lumix have done an excellent job here with this firmware update. We do have the limitation in 25 frames per second, which is still a bit of a mystery, but I like to believe that Lumix have done as good as they can to get this resolved. It's also great to see all the newer features announced with the S1 II make its return here to the S1R2, and that gives you great confidence in the future of both of those cameras and the ecosystem as a whole. And if you are wondering which one of those cameras is right for you, you need to watch this video here.